welcome to the Intentional Queen podcast, where women come to be empowered on their self-love, self-healing, and growth mindset journey. Welcome, guys. I am Janine. I am a life coach. I am the host of this podcast. I am so blessed to have you. And if you're returning, whoop, whoop, thank you, because you need to know it is March and it is what? Women History Month. So I'm all about women empowerment and growth mindset for this month. I'm also going to have a special guest joining us this month. So make sure you listen out for that podcast episode. It's just going to bless your spirit. So February, we already talked about that with self-love. March, we're going to just dig into some more about women empowerment. I told you the Intentional Refuel comes out the last Thursday of every month. Yes. Okay. And so with it coming out the last Thursday, the Intentional Refuel will be recaps of different things, some thought work. I mean, really, I'm just putting it together. So I hope you were blessed by it. If you're not on the newsletter list, you need to go ahead and do that. And the way to do that is to go to intentionalqueenjourney.com, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you will see where it says sign up for the newsletter, put your first name and your email, and I'll send it to you. I will be sending it at the last month. People say, well, normally newsletters at the beginning of the month. I think when I thought about it, because, I'm very intentional about how I move, Thursdays is our day. You look for me on Thursdays, so why not have it on a Thursday? And I also wanted it to be something that's going to get you through. Like, it's a recap, right? It's a refuel. And so if it's a refuel, I feel like that's probably at the end. We giving you stuff during the beginnings of the month. And I want to close it out by giving you something to marinate on until we meet again in the next month. So that's my thought process behind that. And it's going to evolve. Like I said, my word of the year is evolve. And so it's just evolving. And if it don't work out, y'all, we just pivot to something else. That's just what we're doing out here. And that's what you're doing too, because you're finding out what your word is of the year and how you're doing it. And you're just giving yourself grace. Because I think that's a love language too. Give yourself grace. Okay. And what I mean by grace is you give yourself that opportunity, that space and place to grow and meeting people where they are. Ooh, that's a word. I'm starting out giving a word, but that's key. So share this podcast with a friend. Tell people about the newsletter too. So if you read it and you think the refuel can help somebody, I'm not all about that as far as hoarding on knowledge. I think it's good to share knowledge. And so if you feel like it's for somebody, feel free to share. You know what I mean? And if there's some input that you think you can give me, because like I said, iron sharpens iron. So reach out to me. I am a lady of one, meaning like when you send emails and stuff like that, it comes to me. So I just keep this movement. So I get to read them personally when you send me information. Some of the emails I received lately, oh man, listen, bless my soul, because I love to hear when women are empowered in those spaces and when they are blessed by the messages. Okay. Today we're going to talk about see adversity as an opportunity. That comes from TD Jakes. Okay. And I think what he was saying that because there's strength in adversity. And I did a whole Instagram thing on that. And I just really think that there's strength in adversity because you learn how to grow, you learn discernment, you learn patience, and you learn perseverance in adversity because adversity is like being different. And that's my own opinion. But I want to talk about one thing before we keep going. And that is the key word in restoration is rest. And sometimes you have to rest when you are in adversity, when you are in tension, because it's for a greater purpose later. Okay. It's this little cliche we always hear in the streets. Two things you hear. And that's why I call it intentional refuel. Just side note, because you know how they'd be like, just mind your business and drink your water. And so the refuel is drops of water because I'm always talking about the capacity and water. Y'all see how I connected that. But that's key. You need to mind your business, drink your water. And sometimes minding your business is rest. You know what I mean? It's rest. And sometimes in adversity, you have to pull yourself away. People take it personally when you pull away. And God's working on you and you're working on yourself. And they take it as you not dealing with them, but really you dealing with you. And some things aren't for them, they're for you. And so when you have to work on you, you do you. You don't have to be rude about it. But I'm just talking about sometimes people mistake it as a personal blunder, but really it's a boundary because you're dealing with something for you. Okay. So you got to know who your queen tribe is, who's a root, who's a branch, who's a leaf. I did a whole podcast episode on that. But when you know about the 5 people that you spend the most time with, they will either promote or hinder your growth. Think about that. Okay. That was thought work for you last time. And I wanted to make sure you guys are really thinking about this, who you surrounding yourself around, because those could be the people that put you in places and spaces that you never dreamed of. Okay. So I got real clear about my queen tribe, and I'm blessing them. Thank you. Thank you, queen tribe. All of the people know who they are. And I'm sending you light, love, and peace because I'm just thankful. Create your environment with people who are growing and going your way. There's a little cliche they say. Bus has bus stops for people to get off and on. Okay. But I also think you hear this cliche too. There's 2 seats in the Bugatti. And what that means is not everybody can go with you. A Bugatti's a sports car. It has 2 seats, which means you can't take everybody. That's the point of it. And so sometimes you don't go from the bus to the Bugatti. You might go from the bus to the minivan to the Bugatti. And so now I'm in a minivan. I'm not on a bus anymore. And I had to let a lot of people off. I brought on some new people, but I let a lot of people off, and it hurt me at first because, God pruned that. And when he pruned that thing, that's what I talk about in Meekness and Storm. He told me he turned to a Power Ranger out here. He was clipping. I was like, oh my God, this is painful out here. You're clipping that and that too. And then now, because we in a butterfly phase. That was the bruised caterpillar phase, remember? And you got to go in a cocoon and do your work. When you come into the butterfly phase, that's the crushing. That's when you're in the wine phase, okay? When you come into that, you understand, because now that I'm flying, right? Because a butterfly has wings, it's lighter. You wouldn't be able to take them with you anyway. And, I was watching something with Snoop Dogg, and he was talking about closing the gap. And see, as you continue to climb higher, the homies that was with you, that's what he said, the homies that's with you when you both started out at the same playing field, as you go higher, they still stay there. And then the gap gets bigger. Well, the question is, how do you close the gap? So you have to ask yourself, do I go down to make them feel comfortable, or do they have to come up to keep succeeding? So you have to ask yourself, because this is when you're in adversity and it's used as an opportunity. How are you going to close that gap? And is it worth it to close that gap with certain people? Because at points in my life, I became stagnant because it was important to me to have them with me. I'm talking about decades. I'm talking about like 3-decade people. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I don't care what I was doing. When it came to them, nobody could tell me nothing. Okay. I'd be like, what? Oh, that's my people. Oh, I'll go to the depths of the abyss with them. That's what I was doing. But then we intentional, right? And I talked about on last episode, silence is a superpower, but know when to speak. I learned that was me leaving the bus and getting in the van, because I'm getting ready soon get in the Bugatti. That's a wake-up call. So make healthy decisions with a clear mind. You have to purge the clutter and block out the noise of the haters in the street. You have to let go of what no longer serves you. I just told you that, the Bugatti concept, right? If they left, they were not meant to be in this chapter. But this is what I want you to hear, baby girl. It is okay. Say it one more time with me. It is okay. I'm going to read this again. If they left, they were not meant to be in this chapter. And it is okay. See, God see around corners and over hills, okay? And he's in rooms that you are not. So when you was all in your all in your caterpillar phase of not knowing the facts, he already seen it. And now you see what he saw. Okay, come on now. Now you see what he saw, but you didn't see it at that time. So this is what I mean by it happened for you, not to you. Okay, this is a growth mindset thing. We're going to work this out. This is Women Empowerment plus Women History Month. This happened for you, not to you. Okay, so make sure if this is resonating with you right now, because I won't go too deep on it. I want you to listen to that last episode with silence is a superpower until it's necessary to speak, because it's going to bless you. You got to stay true to yourself, and you have to be authentically you. And that only can come once you embrace who you are and who you are meant to be, and know your purpose. That's why I did that whole episode on Mary J. Blige, talking about my life. It wasn't my life that I was particularly talking about. I was talking about her CD, My Life. And that blessed folks too, because it was lessons we could learn from her. You see what I'm saying? And one of them was about being authentically you and not being afraid to be the change agent, not being afraid to be different. and not being afraid to lose people even though you wanted them to be there. Being different has a deeper meaning that you may not understand until the right time in your life. I will say, and y'all heard me talk about it, I knew I wanted to be a nurse at 4 years of age. People saw it then. Everything I did career wise was in a plan. Okay. I was like, oh, we're going to go here. We're going to do this. And I'm going to go to this school. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do this. And I'm going to go there. Like, listen, they even laugh at me at one of my jobs. And they call me checklist. But it's funny. The reason why it's funny is because everybody in the room, it might be like 15 people, and we can't take this patient out this room because they know I'm going to pause, and we go do the checklist. Everybody pauses. They don't make it like a funny thing because they said, Janine, if it's my child or it's my patient or is their loved one, they want me to take care of them because they know it is a hard stop for me. We got to go through and make sure we got everything we need. And I will. I mean, do we have this? Do we have that? Do we have this? You got that? Okay. And so we're good here and we have that. And everybody will pause and make sure they got all that. Because when they see me in the trenches, when I'm out here saving lives if I need to, the first thing they're going to say is Janine already thought about it. And that's where it comes from. That's my purpose. I didn't realize it. Somebody wrote a beautiful thing about me teaching this emergency airway course. And, I just did it as a favor. They like me, and I just want you to come through and speak, and give these new staff members a little something. I was like, all right, cool. What you want me to speak about? Speak about this. Okay. And I put something together. And I can be animated when I'm teaching, but it's my gift. It's my passion. And we talked about the triple P's, right? And I did that in Breaking Free episode. But what I'm saying is I've been a nurse 20 years, but when you talk to me when I was 16, 17, like I'm talking about talk to my family, like my family. I whined. I complained. I was like, I don't want to be different. I want to be like everybody else. I don't understand why. Listen, whining. Okay. And my parents would be like, but Janine, you're meant to be there. Janine, you're meant to do this. I'm like, well, I don't even want to do this anesthesia thing no more because I can't even work. And I got to drive up here and I got to drive down there. And I mean, listen, like, I was like, why? I'm not getting sleep. And I look back now and I see why. I see now, it's like when God give you a coat, like a lab coat, and it's too big. And you like, I don't fit into it yet. But God already said you're gonna wear it later. So you need to put it on. And so it's a epiphany I've had that where I am now is not where I was. And I didn't understand. That's why they tell you don't lean on your own understanding. I didn't know. People seen it though. And see, sometimes you got to look at the people that fell off because they saw it. They just didn't want you to see it. That's why you got to get clear about who you are out here in the streets. Because once you see, you're like, well, hold on now. Let me fix my goggles. Because let me look. And then what you have to also look at, your biggest haters, look at them. Like, look at their life. This is what I'm talking about when Snoop Dogg talking about closing the gap. Like, look at what they have. Do you go in the mud? Do they have to lose what you do? When you can really like assess that, it changes your whole thing. It changes the whole game. Because you be like, listen, you trying me today, and I'm not even gonna let you have it. You just not, because I'm just I can't. I can't. So you could be in training and hidden in plain sight. And you have to change your mindset and focus on the positive seeds. Because that's where it's at. It'll save you every time. And the crushing's okay. I told you about the wine phase. It's beauty in that process. It hurt. That transition, when you crush down, oh my gosh. I remember me and LaTorsha, my friend, she has Iced Coffee and Self-Care podcast. And like we did an IG live. And when I put a clip of that up on my thing, like we had 1,000 views in like 20 minutes. I had to text her with a screenshot. Like, you see this? It was because we was just talking about the crushing. That's it. Like, I was just being honest. And that was my first live, y'all. So I was nervous because she was like, we're going to get you on the screen. I was like, I don't know, girl. Like, I don't know about that. Talk about becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. Okay. Nobody wants to talk about being cocoon and feeling hidden. Everybody wants to be seen, but you have to be careful about being seen. Okay. You don't want to be fearful about it, but just be careful about it because timing is where it's at. Timing is everything. TD Jakes talks about influence versus affluence. And I'm in a place now that I'm striving for influence and legacy. And most of the time when you're in influence, you're not really seen. Affluence is, I need to be seen. I want you to know who I am and what I'm doing. Influence is, I can strive in different spaces and places and be a chameleon. You may not even know all those things about me, because a lot of times I could be in spaces and people don't know even all the extent of who I am. You know what I mean? I have things, it's not who I am, meaning like all those things that I can do is not who I am. I just had an epiphany just now, because I remember my pastor used to talk about this years ago. When people would ask you about who you are, you would always lead with, I'm talking about myself, lead with what you do. I am a nurse, but that's not who you are though. That's what you do. So I just had an epiphany on here with you. So start knowing who you are versus what you do. Have the courage to step out. Be like eagles and soar on a storm. When you birth in a vision, it's hard and it's painful. It's like childbirth. Like it's like the four seasons. Okay. Fall, winter, spring, summer. I'm now in my spring and summer, but when I was in my fall and winter, leaves fall off in the fall. Remember I talk about the tribe, okay? Leaves, spring, and that's when things fall off. And that's even in relationships, man, marriages and everything, friendships. They all have a season, and it's about how you prep for them bad ones, because fall and winter is when it's a little rocky, and you have to be teed up to get through the rough patches when it's barren, okay? Because it's the roots that keep it alive. So you have to vest. And you know what? I was watching this one show on Netflix because, I was having some me time. It was talking about the grass is always greener where you water it. Make sure you tending to your first ministry, which is your home, but also as you water. Okay. Give birth to your dreams. I'm always talking about vision, man. Without vision, the man will perish. But Hubukak 2:2, I did a whole episode on that. You got to make your vision plain and write it out. Listen, I already did my vision board for 2022, and I had my one for 2021. I feel like you need a word for the year and you need to have it down. Canva, CANVA.com. You can go on there. It's free. And the reason why I use that is because I like to do it by pictures. Then I print it up, I put it on my vision board in my room, or you can put it on a screenshot on your phone, like as a wallpaper, and you need to meditate over that thing. I remember Steve Harvey did a whole motivational video on that, and he talked about you have to marinate on that thing and start thinking. I remember when I was in my crushing, like a while back, like I don't know now, 3-4 years ago, I wrote it out in a book, and he was like, write out, I think he said 300 things of what you want. And I like was writing, and I got to like, I don't know, 100. And I was like, I don't have anything else that I really want. And you have to get specific. And I'm telling you, what you're doing is you're speaking light and power over yourself and manifesting what you want. And I mean, listen, I look back at my 2021 vision board compared to what my 2022, and man, I hit about 80% of my target. And so I'm like, okay, God, okay, I see you. Who got 2, 2, and 2, 3. Okay. Get your pen and paper out or go to Canva, and you need to go ahead and start giving birth to your dreams. What is it that you're meant to birth, and birth that thing? But no, you're going to be in labor. Okay. It's painful. And it's not going to always be overnight. One, it might have to be a slow walk. And two, it may be some sleepless nights where you're doing things when you're tired and you're just, sowing seed and sowing seed and sowing seed. And then you just see it come to life. Have healthy boundaries, have healthy relationships. You're going to see boundary is one of my podcast's word for the year. We had a whole little revelation together. And I was like, girl, I think you know what your word is. And she said, Janine, I know. And I said, what is it? And she said, what? Boundary. So you out here now like Oprah. Because remember, Oprah was out there giving a car. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. So now you out there, you get a boundary, you get a boundary, you get a boundary. And they're protective. And to let you know. And listen, I just saw something from Nedra, and I thought this was good too. She said, where you find the most unrest and stress is probably where you need to put a boundary. And I said, touche, 2 snaps for you, Nedra. Think about in your life. So that's your thought work. Think about in your life where you are the most stressed or what gives you the most anxiety. And think about how you can impart a boundary in there that's going to help you. That's your thought work. Okay. And we just going to recap and get you on your way. I want you to know you may be somebody else's survival guide. You need to keep learning and feeding your mind every day. I want you to stay calm and know snake energy is real. I want you to know you have to stay true to yourself and be authentic and embrace it. There's strength in adversity. I want you to make the vision board, write it out. So insert a boundary, right? We talked about that. Give yourself grace in it. And then make a vision board. Start planning out what you want to do, what you want to birth. Like, we here for you. Think about it. Write down something that stimulates you, that you want to do. They have something called SMART goals. So I started to put 1 or 2 SMART goals to something so that way you can accomplish it. Because once you say what you want, you got to come up with goals on how to attain it. And they tell you to do 1 or 2 SMART goals. Okay. And SMART, for SMART goals, what it represents is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time specific. So come up with 1 or 2 SMART goals that's going to get you closer to your purpose after you figure out what you want to do. Okay. So once again, if any of this resonated with you and you want to work together with me, I am a certified life coach, self-love, growth mindset for women. Whoop, whoop. It is Women's History Month. And so sign up for your free consultation call with me. Man, I'm just ready to work with you. Let's do this thing. Close it on out, guys, and say, follow me on Twitter at Intentional Queen Journey. Share it with a friend. Make sure you check your mailboxes for your intentional refuel. If you ain't on the list, go sign up at the website, Intentional Queen Journey. And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.